No, I knew in that moment that my percent was like 0.0001% chance to make it. I knew that. But as I counted the cost, I knew it was worth it to try anyway. I knew it was worth it with that absurd of a dream to push my mind, my body, my nutrition, my spirit the farthest. And however far I get is a win. However far I get, I'm going to go for this goal. But even if I don't, the person that I am and the person I become is going to be worth it. First, I would just say, who told you that? Who told you that it's too late? Who so solidified that this is impossible? And I think that's something that always burns inside of me, is just like, why have we as a people about certain things just say this can't be done because it's never happened or because so and so said so? I think all those norms and paradigms need busted. And I don't care if it's by me, by anybody. Like, someone had to run faster than a 4-minute mile first when they said it was impossible. And the moment someone did it, a lot of people did it. And so in that moment, I just prayed a dangerous prayer. I'm a man of faith. I just prayed, Lord, do not let me move from this chair until you brought the fire back in my heart again. She knew the man that she married that was full of that fire, that passion, that leadership. And she watched it over, 10, 11 years dwindle away because of life and sickness and heartache, And so when she saw that fire in my eyes that she hadn't seen in 10 years, she's like, I don't care what you said you're going to do. Like, this person that I'm seeing right now, I like it. Let's do it. And I thought to myself, I don't even have a choice. I have to get up now. This is who I am. This is what I do. And there's this epiphany moment that we can all relate to this with bad habits of why can't I stop? And the epiphany I had is the same works for good habits.
Step into the world of FC Game Changer, the football club that will change your game. We want to help boost your mindset, strength, and nutrition. A potent trio capable of completely transforming both your football performance and your overall life.
The way we play it, the way we say it.
With a new expert every month, including strength coaches, nutritionists, football coaches, former and current footballers. We are dedicated to sharing knowledge and skills for the next generation of footballers, allowing you to become the best footballer you can be. Thanks for joining us today. Now, let the game begin.
Zach Duke, World Cup dad, welcome to the show.
Hey, so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm super excited to hear, from you, your story. This is going to be, amazing. Probably one of the best episodes that we've had. Before we get into it, for people that don't know you, tell us your story and who is Zach Duke?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll share kind of what led up to this moment where I started pursuing soccer. To not get into like my full backstory, but I will share this, that I used to be a Division I athlete. I played American football. So I've had a lifetime of like being in athletics, in sports, having that base. But for about 10 years, I got very, very sick. Like my stomach was swollen. I couldn't work out. I got out of really bad habits, many ER visits. And it just took me to this place mentally and physically where I began to wrestle with thoughts I never would have to. Like, I'm never going to be able to play with my kids. I'm never going to be able to be that grandpa or dad that can run and play. I can't even do a push-up without being sick. And so as this time went on, I just began to have so much despair, so much depression. And I believed this lie. I believed the lie that I could never change. I had to accept what this was the rest of my life. And there's really not much more like fearful and despairing than that. And so I reached this point a couple of years ago at the end of 2022, where I just went to this coffee shop in Virginia where my in-laws live. And I'm just like, I have to find a change. I have to find a solution. I can't keep going on like this or I'm going to break. And so I just went to this coffee shop. I put on a podcast. And this guest was on the podcast called Dad Work. And he was just going in on dads, specifically in America. Like, why have we of dads accepted the status quo? Why have we of dads accepted the dad bod, or being passive, or not pushing ourselves to the limits for the sake of our families, for the sake of our generations, and even knowing we don't even know what our limits are. And, you know, we play it so safe and we play it so comfortable. Where are the few men, the few warriors that will actually push themselves to the edge, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, everything? And I had to sit there with the reality that I am not that man. I have chosen the path of fear, of least resistance, of comfort. And so in that moment, I just prayed a dangerous prayer. I'm a man of faith. I just prayed, Lord, do not let me move from this chair until you brought the fire back in my heart again. And this was the defining moment where I went to the deeper why in my heart for my family, for my wife, my kids, my future. And I dug really deep. And the Lord it was like this lightning bolt or this fire that just resolved up in me. And he reminded me of my days as an athlete. That's when I had the best time management. That's when I had the best mental clarity and sleep and nutrition, everything, working out. And even though I was stewarding so much in that time frame, I felt like the burden was the lightest. But I can't go back and play American football. Like, no way. And then the Lord spoke something to me that I thought was even crazier. He said, soccer. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So long story short, he reminded me, like, hey, soccer is the global language. If you want access to relationships and influence any country in the world to speak their language, soccer is the way to do that. And not only that, I wanted a challenge. I wanted something that I could learn, pour myself into, where it forced me to struggle, to be humiliated, to be at rock bottom, so that I could learn something and see the progress. But then the next part, and this is, you know, the crazy part that I think so many people latch onto, which is the goal of trying to make it to the World Cup. Like, why did I do that? Why did I choose that? Like, the Lord didn't promise me I was going to make it. I didn't get some like, hey, you're going to make it. No, I knew in that moment that my percent was like 0.0001% chance to make it. I knew that. But as I counted the cost, I knew it was worth it to try anyway. I knew it was worth it with that absurd of a dream to push my mind, my body, my nutrition, my spirit the farthest. And however far I get is a win. However far I get, I'm going to go for this goal. But even if I don't, the person that I am and the person I've become is going to be worth it. So that's the genesis of the story that set me off. And I praise God, I haven't looked back.
I mean, I don't even know, you know, where to start from here, because one thing led to another, right? So you were playing American football and then you get sick. And then it's like this type of sickness that you couldn't even do anything. You couldn't do much. And then the fear came right along in terms of you trying to, you know, get older, but stay strong and healthy and be able to play with your kids and be that grandpa, right? All is involved, but you couldn't because you're sick. And then you go to the coffee shop, right? So you listen to a podcast, and then Lord comes into you and he says, hey, wake up, basically, like you said, that lightning bolt, right? It's a series of like things that happen to you that it led to you, you know, meet God, meet the Lord, to be like, hey, wake up. There's way more to life than what you think, right? Don't accept,
That's exactly
right? So this is one of like those things that if you didn't, you had to believe in yourself as well, right? Because it's that point. I know I'm sick. I know, you know, I've been an athlete my whole life, and I know how that felt being an athlete. But then, you know, crazy stuff too, because you change from American football directly to something that's the complete opposite, basically, to soccer. And you had no experience. Is that correct?
Zero.
Zero.
I mean, the only experience I had was when I was in preschool, and where we were running around and I was still picking grass and, you know, pulling my pants down. Like I don't count that. And that was the only time I played. So if people want to count that, they can. I wouldn't count that.
Yeah, no, but just by seeing your videos, for everyone that's listening, watching, go check your videos to see that, you know, it seems like you didn't have much, of an understanding or even your control with the ball to right now. You're a soccer player right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's
Zero
so
control. I mean, I can't overshare how bad I was and how hard mentally really that first year and a half was. I'm just like, I really stink. And I had so much respect for players. Like I knew it was a hard game. I wasn't naive to think the quality of the players, like none of that. But my respect still elevated so much more as I just saw how hard and technical and mental the sport is.
Yeah, it is. And like, I'm just going to go back into like, I can't relate to you in terms of you saying, I want to be that grandpa that I'm always involved, always playing and able to interact with my kids, grandkids. Because nowadays I'm 35 right now. That's all. I live my life right now the way I do in order to be able to play and enjoy with my son, my grandkids in the future as much as I possibly can. I want to be that 75, 80, right? Still running, playing.
That's right.
Right? So everything I do nowadays is to achieve that. I can totally relate to that. Now, the soccer, right? Being it's a worldwide sport, the biggest sport in the entire world. And it doesn't matter where you go. If you have a soccer ball, you go play, it doesn't matter. You don't even need to speak the language, as you've been around the world and you've experienced that too. I'm curious, you could have tried and gone to so many different directions in terms of the sport that you picked. You already mentioned that it is the world, kind of like worldwide sport to take on. But what I'm trying to think, because that's such a task to go from American football to being sick to then go to a complete different direction. What clicked? What made you still pursue something that many people would say, dude, that's impossible?
Yeah. I try not to overthink things too much. I'm guilty of doing it, but in that moment, like I love the sport of soccer. What made me fall in love with it originally, silly enough, was playing FIFA back in college.
Yeah.
That's when I started. That's what helped me learn the game and learn the players. And so I fell in love with. It's not going to be a surprise here, but Ronaldinho.
Oh my God.
And when I watched him play, it was beautiful. It was magical and it was joyful. And from then on out, like I began to watch the game. And so I always had this regret in my heart of not playing. And one of my favorite moments was like the World Cup. I think it was in 2010, I believe. And was that South Africa?
I think so.
Yep. So that's when I was still in university playing American football. And like soccer was even big then. Like when the World Cup was going on, we would bring a soccer ball into the American football locker room, and our team would just get in a circle and they would just try to hit headers to each other. Yeah. So just even the simple joys that brought, like I don't have a passion to learn badminton or bowling or even pickleball, like maybe one day, but there was just always this, like, I wish I could have played this beautiful game. And it bothered me that I couldn't even kick a ball straight. And so there were just so many of those factors. And then on top of it, I'm a visionary at heart, and I love traveling the world, and that's part of my job, and raising and developing leaders. Like if I want to do this well, it's going to be soccer. It has to be soccer.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's just, I mean, I'm so excited, to see where you go. You do have that goal, right? World Cup, Dad. You're trying to make it into the World Cup in 2026, which, right around the corner. But like you said, it doesn't even matter, right? You set the goal, and you've evolved so much that having that, almost, like you said, 0.00001%, the amount of improvement that you've had is insane. And now that you do have the control, you know how to play, you understand the game a lot better. I feel like the improvement is going to be even faster in a way, because you have it now, you understand it now.
And you know, I've noticed that as well. Like I continue to grow exponentially. For many factors. But one thing I haven't lost this whole time is my joy in the process. Like my goal, my heart isn't, you know, am I on the team? Did I not make a team? Do I need to get on like what's next? It's just, how can I keep growing on the skills and the tactics and learning? And as that's kept the joy warm of like trying to learn and to grow. And like, that's kind of the Kobe mindset. It wasn't win-loss. It was mastery of a skill, mastery of the moment. And so I've really tried to adopt that. And what's crazy is like, if my journey were to end right now, the amount of self-respect that I have for the work I've put in for myself is off the charts, which I think is, I don't need respect from others, but if I can have self-respect from the work and time I know I've put in, the man that made me, that's huge. But also, if you would have told me 2 years ago, all that would have happened up until now, I'd have been like, you're crazy. There's no way. There's no way. Like I couldn't have guessed all this would happen. It's just honestly favor and grace of the Lord. And if it were to end right now, it would still be unbelievable what has happened. And the cool thing is it's not over yet.
100%. And I'm even thinking, you know, even your kids, right? Like having that role model as well to, I mean, right? Like it doesn't matter. You're not good at it right now. It doesn't matter what you're trying to become, right? You're not good right now at the moment. However, if you apply what you have, what you've showed us, you are going to improve. You are going to become better. It doesn't matter what you decide to take on in life. You are going to make improvements.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Like I can't compare myself to other players. I can't compare myself to those who are, you know, have started after me or those that are in the pros right now. Like that's just a losing game. The only thing I can focus on is how can I grow? What can I control? You know, and even, you know, people will sometimes say, well, wouldn't it be unfair if you make a team and someone else doesn't? I'm like, I think that's a absurd question because I'm not the one who picks people on the team.
Yeah.
You know, it's the coach's responsibility to put their teams in winning positions. And I trust that they will make the right choices for their teams. So I think it's a bit of a silly question, like what's fair, what's not fair. Like one, that's not my choice.
Right.
And true. And two, like it's the coach's decision to put their team in the best position. So I don't have to worry about what's fair or unfair.
Yeah. You, like you said, you control what you can. Coach choosing you or a different player, it's completely out of your control. Like you can't. It's just, Okay. So now question here. How did your family react to all of this?
Well, I would say my immediate family, my extended family reacted differently. Starting with my wife, I mean, I went home and told her, you know, an hour after the podcast that I listened to in that very first moment in the coffee shop. And she was like, okay, we're doing this.
Oh, wow.
And she's never not been all in. Like she's the biggest supporter, the biggest cheerleader.
You see, that helps.
Oh, it not only does it help, I couldn't have done it without her.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't. And part of it was because she saw all of my struggles. She knew the man that she married that was full of that fire, that passion, that leadership. And she watched it over, 10, 11 years dwindle away because of life and sickness and heartache, And so when she saw that fire in my eyes that she hadn't seen in 10 years, she's like, I don't care what you said you're going to do. Like this person that I'm seeing right now, I like it. Let's do it. And so I've had many, many moments of discouragement and wanting to quit on this journey, and she won't let me.
That's amazing.
She's like, the person that you're becoming is worth you suffering and worth you having setbacks and worth like keep going. And I 100% could not have done this without her, not just full support, but full advocacy.
Yeah.
Of go for it.
That's beautiful. That's, I mean, yeah, I wish I can meet her one day just to say, you know what, just to say thank you, because
She deserves it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you said you couldn't have done it without her, right?
Yeah.
We all need that person because it's too much on us, but having that person to also, and again, I'm sure that you as husband, right? She would say the same thing.
Yep. Yep.
And this is just, it's beautiful. Now for I coach as well. I'm involved here in the community. I'm in Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, nice.
And
Go Ducks, huh?
yes, the soccer community here is huge and it's growing. And I try to help as many players as I possibly can. However, you can see that there are a lot of those players that one, they give up super easy because they say, I'm not good at this. I should give up. What can you share with these players? Because I mean, just your story, alone, and there are ways to improve, right? What can you share with them for them to, one, please don't give up on this beautiful game, and two, like actionable things that they can do to improve day to day, right? Every time that they go out, that they train, that they practice with friends or even by themselves.
Yeah. I would say if I had any superpower, it would be only one thing, and that I don't quit. And I've just always been that way. Like I will remain long after others would have given up. But I'll tell you why, and hopefully make it practical for those that are listening on what's my mindset behind that. And first is it's going to be painful either way. It's going to be painful to stay in it, and it's going to be painful in the regret if you quit and look back. And I think, and I believe wholeheartedly that you project yourself out 20, 50 years or both, that the pain of regret will be far greater than the pain of suffering by staying in it.
Yes.
And so perspective is huge. Like really, if we just live in the temporal moment, then when it's hard, we want comfort, we want to quit. And so delaying that satisfaction is huge. I believe if I don't quit, it will be worth it. And again, that goes back to my faith that I'm always longing and looking to a greater reward in the future that makes the suffering in the present time manageable and doable to keep going, to not quit. And then I think another very practical thing that has helped me, and I know will help others, is if whatever our big goals is, for example, mine, make the World Cup. If that's what I thought about 24/7, it would crush me. I would have quit a long time ago. So I set the big goal, the macro goal, but then I immediately move my eyes attention to the micro goals.
Tiny little pieces that will take you there.
Yep. And I'll give an example of why this works in a second. But so I started breaking it down into segments, 3-month segments and 1-week segments. So the 1-week segments, I just started focusing on my habits. Okay, if I want to make the World Cup, my macro goal, then what do my weekly habits need to look like to maximize my growth? And so I put all of my attention on the week, on what I need to do this week. And then I made that the process. And then I would evaluate it every month. And so that's been the biggest thing to me, is when you break it to small little pieces on those habits, the process, not the outcomes, not the results, but the process. That's what gets you there. So I'll give you a real life example. Back again at university, when I was playing American football, we had my least favorite exercise called squat till you drop. I hated it. You just put on as much weight as you can on the squat rack, and it is like it sounds. You keep squatting until you fall down and they catch you. I mean, it is one of my least favorite things I've ever done. It's brutal. And so I ended up doing, I could do the numbers on this and find out this is egregiously wrong, but I want to say it was like either 275 or 315 for 40 reps.
My God.
I mean, it was, I'm a strong guy. Like my max for squat was 515 at my peak.
That's huge.
Just strong. But it was killer. If I thought to myself, all right, I have 38 left, 30 left, I'm dropping. I'm gone. So when you're doing that, you have to tell yourself, all right, 5 more. And then after like 5, you're like, okay, and 2 more. And then after like 15, you're like, okay, I can only do 1. I just got to do 1 more. And And so it's focusing on that one that gets you to the 40. If you
Yeah.
focus on the 40, it'll kill you. And so that I'll leave it right there. But you have the macro goal, but focus on the one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is even good for me to hear too, because you end up getting overwhelmed if you're only thinking about the macro, the goal. And I think that's absolutely correct. People, they focus too much on the macro, on the goal, and they forget about the executions, right? The little segments that you just mentioned, the day-to-day, the tiny micro pieces to get you to the goal. It's too much focus in the future, and they get overwhelmed about the present.
It'll crush you, and it'll take away the love of the game.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct here. Yeah, wow. No, this is awesome for them to hear, because there are so many, and some of them they are already good. But because they see their friends that, they're a little bit better than them, they already think, I'm not good enough. So what's the point here? Hey, eliminate that. Stop looking at them. Look at yourself, right? And keep improving. I really like the way that you broke this down. It's even good for me to think about this. So now, crazy, massive, beautiful goal that you have, right? You pretty much decided to take on the impossible. I mean, impossible, in my opinion, we've all done it. Being born as a human being, that's to me is a miracle. That's
so true.
Right? We've done it. So now it depends on us to decide on what we want to focus on and execute on that. But what's your day like, right? Content creation, training, family. How do you juggle all of that without, again, going back to getting overwhelmed?
Yeah. The time management is huge. That's what I had to plan that before I even started day one. And I've optimized it along the way, of course, because you have to adjust. But because my goal was for my family, it would contradict the mission if I started putting them up, World Cup above family. That contradicts the original mission. And it's so funny. I've gotten so many critical comments of people that just don't know me that say, you're a terrible dad, you're a terrible husband,
Wow.
which is fine. But my wife and I just read them and laugh together.
Good. I'm glad that you deal with that.
True.
Yeah. They don't know you. They don't know your reality.
Yeah. But at the same time, I understand what it might look like without understanding context. So it's always helpful to share context like this. And so the way I've scheduled my day, and this I would say is 90% of the time, is I'll start with the evening because that's actually how it makes the most sense. So I'll go to bed at 8 p.m. So I'll put the kids down, read to them, pray over them, 7:30, 7:45, straight into bed, and then up at 4 a.m. So it sounds like, wow, that's so early, but I mean that's 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah,
so I'm getting great sleep. It's just tricking your mind to think you're in a different time zone. But when I do that, I'll wake up from 4 to 5, and I'll spend just an hour in reading the Bible and prayer and journaling. And I don't skip that time. I need that unhurried time where I'm just remembering whose I am, remembering who I am, feeding on the Word of God. And then I'll go train from 5:30 to 7:30. So it'll be 2.5 hours in the morning. And then I'll be home before my kids go to school at 8 o'clock. And so I'll get to see them off, pray for them for the day. And then, 8:30, I start my day. So from 8:30 till noon, 12:30, I'll have my normal work day. I work remote, which is a huge blessing. There was many years when I didn't. I'm in a place now where I can work remote. And then over the lunch hour, I'll go to the gym and I'll do my gym training session. So I never eat out. I don't ever have lunch meetings. I'm this is my blocked off time where I go and train. And then after that, I'll finish my work day from 1:30 or 2 till 5:30. And so I have my full 8-hour work day. And then after that, it's just family time. So we have a staple time for our family where we always eat dinner as a family at the table at 5:30 and just have no phones, no technology, just family time. And then the rest of the evening is just with each other, of just focus on each other. One of my habits on my daily habit tracker is called Dad Up. which is, was I a good husband and a good father today? And I just either check it or not. And it's completely subjective on how I think I did that day. I don't have a bunch of metrics. Just, was I present with my family today? And so able to focus on that. So that's how I've managed my time. Now, of course, there's days when I've traveled, or like when I was on the pro indoor team for 6 months. That was a completely different story that my family and I had to work out together. But by and large, and these 2.5 years, that's what my mornings and days have looked like.
Yeah, I mean, you just like you wake up at 4, but like by 8, you've done beyond more than 90% of the people.
Yeah, and mentally it feels that way. Like when you do that much in the morning, you've already felt like you've conquered, and it puts you and your mind, your spirit, your body in such a good place. Like I can't tell people enough how much of a good practice that is. And people say, "Well, I'm a night person. I can't be a morning person." I mean, none of that's true. It's what you choose to be, and as you do that over time, it can switch. Because I would have said the same thing. Well, I'll never be a morning person. Well, with that attitude, I won't be.
You won't be.
But if I choose to be and deepen what my why is, then you can learn to love the new rhythms.
Yeah, discipline. Yeah. Wow. No, that's I hope, with you sharing this, even those silly comments will not be a thing anymore. But regardless, like social media, that's the way it is. And
that's the way it is. That's right.
Yeah, it is what it is. People don't know you. The people that do know you, even myself, I'm getting to know you even more now. It's on them. Those are unhappy people. Those are people that, have no clue what's going on with you. So it's easy for them to judge. And they see the success as well, right? You've been extremely successful. On Instagram alone, you're, 138,000 followers and growing, right? The impact that you've been having on people, even on myself, right now with this conversation that we're having. So the beauty of the podcast is also for me to listen and learn so much from all the guests that we have here, because I mean, I'm extremely inspired, like after the episode here, I'm gonna, rearrange and kind of rethink the way I do things, because I do also have a family. We have a 17-month-old little boy, Luca, and we're learning how to, I have the content creation, I have the full-time job as well, and just seeing you sharing everything, from when you started to play soccer and now to how much you've improved. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Let me ask you something. How has your football background helped you or hurt you with your soccer development?
I would say both, but way more help than hurt. Way more help than hurt. Because I'll just share the factors off my head on why it was helpful. The amount of discipline I had to do in that, the amount of hard work, of knowing what it takes to excel at something. You can only know that by doing it, so I know what that process is like. I know what the work looks like. I know all of that. And then also what helped was the years and years and years, probably 15 years of speed development training, form running, lifting well to build my strength, all agility training, conditioning. Like all those years weren't wasted. And I was a very, very hard worker. Like even when I was in elementary school, I would wake up in the morning before school and shoot 100 free throws. I would sleep with basketballs in my bed. Like I've never not been a hard worker. And so that's something that I can control. And it also helped just more practical sense. Like I was a wide receiver. I have good vision. I know how to see open space. I know how to keep my head on a swivel. I have really good footwork and agility that once I learned movements could translate over. So all of those things were really, really helpful. I would say what made it hard is I also had many, many years of muscle memory that needed unlearned and relearned to soccer because the movements are different. Even athletic stance is different. Like I looked like a football player when I first started playing for my first 2 years. Like even my athletic stance, I just didn't know. And not only did I not know, my body wouldn't do it because of all of the years of muscle memory I had to unlearn and relearn. And so I think that was the hardest, and it's still one of the hardest, is just getting the movement and the flow right. That has been the most frustrating part that I finally feel like I've gotten some breakthrough in, is just moving with the ball. That took a long time, and so I would say that probably is what hindered the most as I transitioned to soccer.
It's very interesting, the movement with the ball, right? It changes everything. You could be a super fast, let's say, sprinter, but as soon as you add the ball, you lose 30-40% of your speed when you're trying to sprint with the ball. Yeah, totally.
Yep.
You mentioned strength and conditioning. You've said the word nutrition. You've said the word mindset. We have the pillars here on the podcast is mindset, is strength, and nutrition, right? We have the mindset at the top as being, the top of the pyramid, is strength in the middle as like the base, right? In the middle, sustaining up and down. And then the bottom, we have nutrition. So in your view, with your background and experience in all of this, how important are those three things when it comes to not just an athlete, a soccer player, but just as a person in general?
Yeah, I mean, I would say those are the three primary pillars by far, and they're also dominoes. Like one. They're not just individual verticals; like they feed off of each other. And so I noticed early on, I focused very, very hard on my nutrition right in the beginning. And it's interesting because as you see those progress for nutrition, it makes you want to work out harder.
Yeah.
And when you work out harder, that makes you want to keep eating well so you don't lose your progress. And as you do that, the mind is forming new habits and thoughts and patterns. And so they really are all interconnected, like the nervous system and skeletal, like all of that, right? It's all together. But that is the trifecta. Like if you only focus on two and leave out one, you're going to be found greatly lacking. And so learning to value them all together as the process is huge. And I've heard, especially in the soccer world, and it's I don't know why so many across the world has believed this lie that it's not good to be in the gym. Like to me, that's just it's silly. Like I get the argument that you could be too bulky and it doesn't translate well. But that's if you do it wrong.
Yes.
That's if you're doing if you're doing bodybuilding, yes, bad idea. But if you're doing very movement and power and speed type of movements in the gym, it's only going to help you. Not only going to help you, it's going to prevent injury if you do it right.
1000%.
And so some people say, well, you get in the gym, you get injured. Again, if you do it poorly. If you do it well, it's going to be greatly to your advantage. And so thankfully, I don't want to be self-proclaimed here, but I know a lot about the gym and the body and what helps and what doesn't help. And so I've done that really well, at the same time using some of the top soccer gym programs out there that are very specific that I can just follow too. So all of those three pillars are exceptionally important.
Yeah. I mean, it's right. Like I was telling you, that's what the three pillars, I take that on my own self, right? To stay, healthy, to stay injury free. And I mean, this idea of the gym, and it's funny because you see even the kids too, they just want to play soccer. And I agree with that, right? If you want to become good at soccer, yeah, you have to play soccer. However, you have to be ready as well in a muscular way to sustain the load of soccer. If your muscles are not strong enough to sustain the load of soccer, injuries are going to happen.
Yep.
And I've been there. I've had I tore my ACL twice on my left side, and I can almost guarantee if I had the experience, the knowledge about nutrition, the mindset, the strength and conditioning, even recovery too, right? Back in those days in college, I can almost guarantee that my injuries would not have happened. But again, we can't go back in time. We can only tell these young athletes to listen to what we've been through to kind of hopefully prevent them from going through horrible injuries such as, your ACLs, your hips, your ankles, all of that, broken bones and stuff like that. So Yeah,
I'll
you're
I'll give you
absolutely.
one more example too on why nutrition is important, and it's way more than just getting fit and getting cut and cutting fat. Like it's more than that. One specific example is inflammation.
Yes.
If you eat well and intentionally decrease your inflammation, it will greatly help you recover and not get injured.
Yeah.
And so, just that one thing right there of like reducing your inflammation and your recovery time, like it's going to make you a better player, like guaranteed, just on doing that.
Yeah. 1,000%. 1,000%. We didn't talk about discipline and motivation, because I can almost, you tell me, right? I'm sure that you had many days when progress felt extremely slow, to the point that you're almost overthinking, about, why did I decide to take on this challenge? How do you stay disciplined and motivated?
Yeah. I think that is the golden question. One of the big nuggets I've learned from this journey is motivation isn't worth a whole lot. It's not that it's unimportant, it's just not sustainable. Like it's rocket fuel when you have it, but it cannot be what you depend on. And so I remember there was a specific morning where I woke up at 4, I did my thing, and I'm driving over to the gym to do my soccer skills and training. And I thought to myself, I don't even have a choice. I have to get up now. This is who I am. This is what I do. And there's this epiphany moment that we can all relate to this with bad habits of why can't I stop? And the epiphany I had is the same works for good habits. I thought, I can't stop this. I can't stop waking up at 4 a.m. I can't stop showing up. It got so much that it became a cemented habit that I had the same thought that I did for a bad habit. I'm like, oh my goodness, this works both ways. And so I think that was the epiphany for discipline, is that you can have the same thing for a good habit that you can for a bad habit, where you can ask yourself, why can't I stop? So that was a pretty cool moment. But there's been, I innumerable days where I didn't want to go, more often than I did. So I had more days with no motivation than I had motivation, but I chose to do it anyway, and that was discipline. And so I just realized I'm not going to rely on motivation at all. It's a really, really good servant and a really bad master.
Yeah. I love to hear that. And tell me one thing: all of those days that you didn't feel motivated and you did not want to go, but you did anyways, how many of those days, when you're finished with your training or gym or whatever that was, you said, oh my God, I hate this? Like, tell me if there was one day that you regretted.
Zero. Absolutely zero. Not even a single percentage of regretting it.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing.
It's why, right? Like, it's like they struggle, right? Like, I don't want to train, but I'm going to go anyways.
Yep. That goes back to the pain of regret versus the pain of the suffering.
Yes.
And until you believe that, you won't do it.
And then you get it done, you're like, wow, like, I'm so glad I did this, correct?
And that's when the self-respect comes in, because you're like, this was a hard thing. I didn't want to do it. I did it anyway. What does that mean about tomorrow? What does that mean about this task? What does this mean about this relationship? It's all a domino. If you step up to the challenge, it reciprocates into other areas of your life.
100%. 100%. Okay, so now, for someone who thinks they're too old or too inexperienced to start something new, whether it's soccer or anything else, coming from you, what can you share with them?
First, I would just say, who told you that? Who told you that it's too late? Who so solidified that this is impossible? And I think that's something that always burns inside of me, is just like, why have we as a people about certain things just say this can't be done because it's never happened, or because so-and-so said so? I think all those norms and paradigms need busted. And I don't care if it's by me, by anybody. Like, someone had to run faster than a 4-minute mile first
Yeah.
when they said it was impossible. And the moment someone did it, a lot of people did it. And so all the things that people said are impossible, I think deserve to be challenged. And so that's the first thing. The second is, if you're willing to put in the work for the dream, whether that's going back to school or a sport or a new business, it is worth being bad at. It's worth failing at. It's worth learning the lessons that even if it doesn't work out, everything that you gained and learned along the way will make you better for your next endeavor that you do. So there's never a failure or a loss, but only a learning. And sometimes I think we're so afraid to take a risk because we will identify as a failure. But if we can learn to say that this was a failure, but I am not a failure, then we can learn and grow and move to the next endeavor. So that's why it's so important that as we think about chasing these big risks or impossible dreams, or people that say it's too late for me, we need to have an identity switch on what we believe about ourselves, because that's the real question. The real thing is, we don't want to fail. We don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to be humiliated in front of others.
Yeah.
And until we accept the truth that we're going to suck, that it's going to be humiliating, and we need to face it head on, we'll never do anything, worth your time of doing. Like, that's the cost of entry.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. And like I love that, because it's being afraid of, failing it's almost a detriment to ourselves, right? Because like you said, there's only learning from that. Unless if you accept, right, I'm a failure and I failed and that's it. Instead of looking back and kind of reanalyzing everything and the reason why you failed, so then you can try it again, and maybe even if you fail again, there's some things that you could do differently that at some point will bring you to where you want to be. So, absolutely.
There's a quote that I say to myself and I say to others all the time that I've learned on this journey, and it's just so true. If you don't quit, you win. You're just going to win. And I'm talking about at life. I'm not talking about at soccer or whatever current goal you have. But if you don't quit, you win.
Yeah.
I just believe that with all my heart.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I hope there's a lot of people listening, watching, and they're taking everything that you're sharing with us, because, people need that. People need to recognize that, again, going back to what I had said, and I do believe that the impossible, we've all done that, right? Being born as a human being. So the rest is just up to us to keep on pushing and staying focused, and and even like the time management piece too, right? So it's not even like the idea of being too old. It's the idea of like, it's all these things. I'm too old. I have a family. I don't have time. I have work. If you organize your day well, right? We do have time. That's the only thing we all have in common, right? I don't know anyone else that for them it's a 32-hour day, right? Yep. Like it's 24 hours. It's just, and the way you broke it down as well, the way you do things, right? 4 by 8, you've done so much more than many people. People.
And if we take an honest look at our day on how much time we spend wasting.
Yes.
And again, it's no condemnation, but just do a self-introspection on how much time am I on social media? How much time am I, just lounging around? How much time am I watching TV and Netflix? If you just do an audit of your life, you would be shocked where you can find time. Yeah. Even if it's like, well, I go to bed, but I scroll on my phone for an hour when I go to bed. That's an extra hour where you could be sleeping and getting up an hour earlier. Like until you actually look up the hours of your day and how you spend it, you think I don't have enough time, but we do. The truth is this: we will always find time to do exactly what we want to do.
Yeah,
we will. What we want to do, we will find time to do.
Yeah. Yeah, you made me think as well now that I was actually talking to my wife the other day. It's even like, for example, it's just like a workout, right? The thought of a workout is like, wow, it's going to suck and it's hard, it's painful, and it's going to take a lot of my time. And it's like, actually, when you get into the gym, you realize when you're done, you're like, oh, wow, I had a great workout and it was 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
and it's like you've accomplished something. You made yourself better in
Yep.
30, 45 minutes.
We worship comfort and safety, and that is the poison of anything good worth doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Like, if you think about all of history, nothing ever extraordinary happened by being comfortable and playing it safe. Zero. You know, and so I realized that's the life I had been living, and I just had to say no more, no more.
Yeah. I think what's left for me to ask you here is World Cup 2026 right around the corner. Are you making it?
So again, macro and micro goal. My next step is I need to get on a first division team somewhere. So that's my entire focus right now, is getting on a first division team. And so if I were to make it, I need to do that first.
I see. So
so my entire focus, I'm training and I'm talking to different teams and coaches and even agencies of like, okay, how can I get on a first division team somewhere? And so that's my big focus. You know, I don't know. The time is running out. I think the chances are very slim, very hard. But again, what's in my control? I'm going to do everything I can do to put myself in that position to do that. And if I don't make it, I don't make it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm going to do everything I can to do it. And if I don't, I don't. But who knows? Maybe there will be other ways I can be involved. Like, it could be cool to be like an honorary captain for the day, or to be a chaplain that gets to pray over the team before they go out one time. Like, all of those things would be beyond my wildest dreams. All of them.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that I'm even on FIFA's radar right now at all, they've invited me to events across the country to even promote the World Cup. So like 2 years ago, they didn't know, the whole soccer world didn't know who I am. Now I'm getting emails from FIFA where they are having me come out to these VIP events. I'm just like, that's unbelievable.
You've won already.
I've already won.
Yeah,
like,
you've won. Yeah, you've
crazy.
made the World Cup 2026. You've won. You've won.
So I'm gonna do everything I can to put myself in the best position to be there. I can't control what happens, so we'll see. We'll see if God has any ace up his sleeve or anything. What might happen.
Hey, I'm gonna be rooting for you. I'm definitely gonna be following. I'm definitely gonna be, extremely excited for everything that happens. Because
Thank you.
I mean, you're definitely an inspiration, right? And it's just, I can relate to so much that you shared today, and these are things that I'm even, already thinking on how to apply and how to maybe organize my time a little bit better. And I really appreciate everything that you shared here today. Is there anything else you'd like to share that we haven't discussed?
Man, I've loved this conversation. I'm sure we could keep going for a long time. I'll say, a question I get asked a lot that I would share is this. It's like, okay, what am I doing after the World Cup? One, I'm going to try to keep playing as much as I can for as long as I can. But one common thing I've seen across the U.S. that I want to do everything I can to help with is the pay-to-play system for youth sports has really drawn my heart, and of like, what can I do to help throw a wrench in the pay-to-play system? Again, not bashing clubs, not bashing teams, because I know after talking to many of them, they actually want to help with that too. They want to find a solution to that. And so that's something I'm putting a lot of my efforts and time in right now, is to make everyone's game anyone's game, and to open the doors so that people can play in a much cheaper or scholarship type of a way. And we got some really good ideas brewing on that. So that's something I want people just to stay tuned of if they want to help be a part of that solution. We got some cool things coming.
That's awesome. And count on me, count on my team, because that's one of the things that, I want to be part of. And please reach out if you guys need any help, because that's definitely something that, we also think and plan for the future. Like right here, I have two images that what we've created, this massive facility with tons of, soccer fields. We've already designed, and it's in 3D
Amazing.
drawings, everything, but that's just like to keep seeing and kind of, we have the plan, we have the idea. It's just now, as we get bigger, we want to find people, that think the same way, such as yourself. So I'm on board. Just reach out if you guys need anything.
You can count on it.
Okay, we asked this question to every single guest, and the question is, tell us a game changer moment in your life and why.
Oh, man. I'm going to pick a non-soccer one if that's okay.
Totally.
I think a game changer moment in my life is when I met my wife, who, for the first time. And I honestly, I actually was kind of rejected at first. And I was faced with this decision. Do I continue to pursue her, or do I walk away? And it was a game-changing moment for me, because everything inside of me did not want to be humiliated. And if I think back now, I think, man, all that I would have lost, not experienced, in the joy of my children, had I said, you know what, that's too much of a risk to go for. And so what turned out to be, in that moment, a very scary possibility of regret and humiliation turned up to be now a lifetime of blessing. And so that's a game-changing moment, that if you are afraid, that's normal. Have courage to walk through that fear anyway.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. I it's just amazing from everything that you shared, from her too, and how much you guys, the partnership, the relationship that you guys have. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Zach, where can people find you?
The best place is on Instagram, just at World Cup Dad. I have other, TikTok and YouTube as well, but the main place where I'm interacting with people and trying to be present is on Instagram. And so got a lot of cool things coming. I've been a little bit silent on Instagram lately because I've just been working hard. But I mean, the next big goal that I'm going to be trying to showcase more is the journey of making that first division team, which is the next big milestone. So would love to meet more people there.
Awesome. Hey, learned so much from you today, and I hope the audience also did as well. I'm going to be following and hoping for the best for you, and I hope we can keep in touch after this. And thank you so much for being part of this.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much, man. Honored to be here with you.
Thank you.